Year-old son, and suddenly he suffered from a blood clot. Just days after Governor Jim Justice mentioned it at a campaign rally, he got a special call from President Trump.
Well, joining us live to tell us about that is the governor, Jim Justice of West Virginia. You'll remember that he switched parties from Democrat to Republican early in the Trump era. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning. How are you guys today?
We're doing fantastic, and we hope your son is doing well. Give us an update about how this played out and why you want people to know that the president reached out to show he cares about your family.
Well, I know the president really well, and my son's doing great. You know, he's back to work. He was back to work on Thursday. All's good there. But the thing that a lot of people don't know, you know, like I said, I know the president really well. I mean, just imagine this. You know, the night he was here in West Virginia, he's been here many times, and we're trying to get him to become a resident of West Virginia, but a full-time resident. But nevertheless, you know, when I walked out on the stage and walked up to him, I'd already told him what was going on. You know, he had a tough day. I mean, with the Cohen and Manafort and the terrible tragedy with the beautiful girl in Iowa and all that. But here he is, you know, and I walk out on the stage and I walk up to him and he puts his arms around me and whispers in my ear and says, you know, he says, as soon as this is over, you get the hell out of here and get back to your son. Well, you know, that's the side of Donald Trump that people don't know. And then, you know, yesterday, you know, I'm just driving down the road, or maybe the day before yesterday, I can't recall. But I'm driving down the road and the OnStar rings on in my vehicle. Now, how he gets the OnStar number, I don't know. But you know, it's almost like God speaking to me, you know. But he calls and says, "Big Jim, you're the greatest." And then he says, he says, "I'm not calling for any reason except how's Jay doing?" Wow. And you know, here's the guy that's the leader of the free world. And he's got so much on his mind, it's unbelievable. It's incredible that he would just take the time to call. But that's a Donald Trump that people don't know. I mean, here's a guy that cares and loves our nation and our people, and everybody should know that.
Governor, what was Jay's reaction to the president's compassion?
Well, he loved it, you know, but Jay knows him. You know, that's the thing. We know him. You know, we know how he cares for the people of West Virginia. We know how he cares for the people of this country. Yeah, that's the very thing. Everybody sees this brash guy that is surrounded by a lot of stuff all the time and lots and lots and lots of accomplishments, whether you think about the stock market at 26,000, the military, what he's done there, the tax cuts, on and on and on. Yeah. It's amazing what he's done.
Governor,
amazing.
I appreciate you wanting to come on and talk about the other side of the president, as you say, the compassionate side, but he's in a pickle right now. We can't sweep that under the rug. You've got the special counsel investigation that he's upset about, and then you have what's happening. You mentioned it a minute ago. Cohen, Manafort is back with the special counsel investigation, but the Michael Cohen situation, his CFO has now been granted immunity. The National Enquirer is involved. What's your advice to him this morning about the fact that he really seems to be under fire?
Well, I would say it would be more advice to the American people. If the National Enquirer is involved, for God's sakes, a living, we need to dial into what this man is doing for this country and where this country was going under Obama versus what this man is doing today. Now, in all honesty, he'll survive all this because he's a fighter and he's a superstar. But at the end of the day, that's what we need to do as a peoples. We need to be more focused on what the story really is than the sideline atmosphere.
Governor, we're glad that your son is doing better. We appreciate you just gave that great ad to OnStar, by the way. I'm sure they're happy that the president's got your OnStar number. Thanks for coming in today, in all seriousness.
Thank you, Governor.
No, thank you guys so much. Thank y'all.
Take care. Still ahead, did James Comey lie to Congress about the FBI's probe into Hillary Clinton's emails? A new report just out. And the president's weighing in. Good morning again. Some quick headlines. Witnesses in the trial of El Chapo will remain protected for now. A judge making the ruling saying he does not trust the accused drug lord's lawyers with inside info. The decision coming after El Chapo's defense team requested the witness list ahead of the November trial. And the family of Prince is suing the doctor who treated the late musician days before his tragic death. In the lawsuit, they say Dr. Michael Schulenberg failed to properly prescribe the singer since he was suffering from an opioid addiction. Prince died, of course, of a fentanyl overdose, you'll remember, in 2016. Rachel?
Thank you, Ed. And an Illinois mother let her 8-year-old daughter walk their dog alone, and the neighbors called the cops and child services. Authorities closed their investigation, but the mother thinks the reaction went too far. So, is she right? Here to weigh in is our panel of moms. You've seen them before. Jean Zaino is a political science professor and consultant. Kimberly Thornberry is a vice president at King's College. And Tiffany Salaberrios is a mother of 2. So first of all, we have a statement here from the Illinois Child Services. They said we don't control the calls that come into our hotline. Something made someone think there was a concern, and we don't know without checking it out. Fair enough on their part. But is this just the case, Jean, of a nosy neighbor, or was she just doing the, we tell people if you see something, say something?
We do tell people that, and I think what's important is that the neighbor had every right to call if there was concern, but I think the problem here is that the authorities, once they went to the house and spoke with the mother and realized that there was no child 5 or under in that house, to then pursue this for the weeks or in months, as the mother reports that they did, is going overboard, because parents have a right to, understanding their own children, decide if at the age of 8 it is fine for your child to gain some independence by walking their little dog. That is not something crazy. It's something that every parent can decide for their own child. Some children are ready to do it, others aren't. And the state has to pull back a bit on some of this overkill in terms of watching the way we're parenting.
Well, we're seeing cases all over the country of, mom goes into Starbucks to pick up her coffee or whatever, and their Child Protective Services is called. Why didn't the neighbor, Tiffany, just call or just walk up to the house and knock on the door and check in with the mom?
There definitely is a disconnect from when Mr. Rogers said, "Won't you be my neighbor?" This is yet another case of the cell phone vigilantes that are just aggressively enacting the police to shame and humiliate their neighbors. Exactly. I really, there's a lack of civility where neighbors can't just walk up. She could have easily gone to that mom and said,
right.
"Oh my gosh, she just looks so young and alone," and the mom right there would have been able to respond, "Oh, she's 8. I can see her from my vantage point." But there's a lack of civility, and we're often chiding children about the disconnect of being detached and into their devices. But really, these adults are setting a very bad precedent and example where we need to often correct them on some of their lack of civility.
Kimberly, what do you say? What is the effect on kids with all this hyper supervision going on out there?
Well, I work at a college, and college used to be a finishing school. Now it's a halfway house because more and more students are coming in without these independent skills that they need. We're all parents here. We all want what's best for our children. And what I'm arguing for is that parents are able to give the children the right to take some risks, to take independence. And we're not saying just go out and do it. We teach before a test.
Right.
So look both ways. Don't talk to strangers. Come back before dusk. You can give your child some rules.
Right, Jean. I mean, she's right. I mean, how do we prepare our kids for the real world, for college, if we don't give them that kind of space?
Yeah, very much like Kimberly. We are starting our semester next week, and this whole notion of helicopter parenting has gotten overboard, where you see kids come, and we hear horror stories every year of freshmen who have never been on their own, move into a dormitory setting and are unable to control themselves with the amount of freedom they have because they've never experienced it. That's not what any parent wants. That's not what we want. Kids have to be taught. And again, parents know their children. They should have a right to decide at what point their children are able to have some independence. Let them test that out.
Well, I'm going to weigh in for just a second here. I'm a mother of 8, and I have to tell you, it's not just the impact on the kids. I think about the impact on the mom. That's a lot of pressure. It would feel like a prison if we had to have our eyes on our kids at every single second. So I think it's good for the kids. It's good for the moms, and we probably just need a little more common sense, right?
Yes.
Definitely.
Well, thank you.
Gone are the
go ahead. No, you go ahead. Finish it out.
Thank you. Gone are the wonder years where we all had childhoods, where we had wonderful unsupervised outdoor play, and we know that we are only able to leash out just a little bit, especially if we live in these big cities. But definitely, as a woman of faith, we need to love our neighbors, not be informants to the police all the time.
It's a great point. You all are obviously moms with a lot of experience. We really appreciate you coming in and sharing that. We all need a little break. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Have a great day. All right, car trouble for one driver turns out to be a whole lot more than just the engine. Plus, did James Comey lie to Congress about the FBI's investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails? Well, the new report is just out, and President Trump weighing in on.
It is your shot of the morning. Sarah Sanders and the White House press corps going toe-to-toe, this time getting the bad lip reading treatment.
Okay, idiots, are you ready? I just can't stand the faces of you people. Those dead, questioning eyes. You dummies don't matter.
What happens when I scratch a horseradish all over my face?
Yeah, when is the Roswell?
You really thought to take your question? You suck.
Hey, the way you talk to me, I mean, do you need to talk so evil?
Do you need to look like a stuffed baked potato in that Walmart shirt?
John Carl, maybe he kind of looks like he's sad, like he's sort of crying, like, but he's a great guy. I'm teasing him.
They matched the voices to the bodies really well, didn't they?
Good job with that. Greg Jarrett, we surprised you with that. You never saw it. Pretty funny.
No, it is funny. I just worry what they'll do to you three.
Turn it around on us. By the way, the author of the best-selling The Russia Hoax. If you haven't gotten it already, I think like millions of people already gotten it. He gave me a little bit of grief last night for not mentioning it enough last week. We put it on the wall. I'm going to put it on my forehead by the end of this segment because you are the man with the best-selling book, #1. And in all seriousness, it's a wonderful book, and there is a whole lot of information that a lot of people are not covering.
There's a huge appetite across America for information other than a few sound bites here and there.
That's right.
You can't get the truth from the New York Times. If you want it, you'll get it from my book. It's backed up with more than 700 footnotes, so it's well sourced.
And the story keeps moving. I mean, you're almost going to have to write book 2 because it keeps developing. We keep learning more and more, and the layers are peeling slowly, not as quickly as some people would like.
That's right. And, the latest information is about James Comey and whether, in addition to stealing documents and leaking documents, whether he told the truth to Congress about the Weiner-Abbott laptop emails.
Because, in fact, there's a new report about maybe emails they did not examine. He said this to Congress under oath, and then we're going to talk about it.
They worked night after night after night, and they found thousands of new emails. They found classified information on Anthony Weiner. Somehow, her emails are being forwarded to Anthony Weiner, including classified information, and then called me the Saturday night before the election and said, thanks to the wizardry of our technology, we've only had to personally read 6,000.
Turns out there may have been another 3,000 that needed to be looked at, and the president just tweeted, and we want you to react, Greg. Big story out that the FBI ignored tens of thousands, actually, of crooked Hillary emails, many of which are really bad. Also gave false election info. I feel sure that we will soon be getting to the bottom of all of this corruption. At some point, I may have to get involved. Interesting, he tweets that every week or so. I may have to get more involved. He attacks Jeff Sessions. Is there something else going on here?
Well, he wants Jeff Sessions to do it, but you played some of what Comey said. Initially, he said the FBI, and this is a quote, reviewed all of the communications. They did not. There were 700,000 emails on the system. They only looked at 3,077, so that is less than 1%. Wow. So that is alleged lie by Comey, #1. #2 would be when he later said, well, thanks to the wizardry of technology, we were able to determine that the vast majority of those documents were duplicates.
On the Weiner laptop. We didn't need to go through all of them.
Right. That's mathematically impossible. They found roughly 700,000 documents, and she had 63,000. Remember, she turned over 30,000, deleted 33. That's 63 subtract from 700,000. Roughly 600,000 were never looked at by the FBI. That's alleged lie #2 by Comey.
So just to be fair, Fox News, and I'm a reporter, as is Ed, we've got to, put it out there. Fox News has not independently confirmed this report that Comey leaked. But should it turn out to be the case, as is reported, how significant is this a problem for Comey?
Well, he's got a lot of problems. He stole government documents and leaked them for the sole purpose of triggering his good friend and longtime partner and ally as special counsel, Bob Mueller. And it also appears that there is substantial evidence that for political reasons, he cleared Hillary Clinton in the face of compelling and overwhelming evidence that she committed crimes. And his third problem is that he signed off on